What's up, everybody? Brett here, and I'm back today casting another subscriber battle. Thanks to Evil Sun's Big Mech. I appreciate it when you send in your replays, man. This is going to be a free-for-all, and it's going to be a Dwarven-centric free-for-all, because we are going to stay from their perspective, I think, for most of the battle. So normally I kind of bounce around, I talk about all the different builds, but in this battle I already took a sneak peek at what happened. It's a pretty awesome replay. And Iron Drake's MVPs, Peak Hammer and Norgling's Ironbreaker's honorable mention, and the Rune Lord himself does a lot of work, but everyone's going to come to him. So there's no point in talking about anybody else, because this is the epicenter of the battle. So frontline of Dwarf Warriors, going to let them take the damage, take the charges. Honestly, I might put the Longbeards in the front just because they have charge defense. It's only against large, though. I understand, though, letting the Dwarf Warriors, they're cheap. Let them take the brunt of the opening engagements, and then have your core of Longbeards in the back with their encouragement aura, you know, buffing things up. And you've got the Norglings out on the flanks. You've got the Peak Gate Guard out on this flank here. They have armor sundering as well as magic damage, which does become relevant, surprisingly, later in the battle. And they have two groups of Slayers in the back, the Giant Slayers, which are pretty expensive. You can go much cheaper and just get the regular Slayers at 900, but they have quite the job to do in this particular battle. Dragonback Slayers as well, with their on-hit effects that cause fire weakness and slowing, and the Iron Drakes with the Trollhammer torpedoes. They are the saviors of the Dawi. I wasn't sure at first when I saw this build. I was very worried that exactly what ends up happening would happen, which is that he would face someone with a lot of artillery. So, for instance, Malagor, who is what the Beastmen have decided to take, can summon Cygors, and that he would just rain boulders down without actually needing to engage. And he could. And he kind of will, but he still will engage anyway, and is going to lose a lot of units in the process. The Bretonnian player, who I think is kind of new, is going to sit back here with his Blessed Field Trebuchets and try and get value, but is ultimately going to be pretty late to the party. Meanwhile, the Lizardman player with Kroq'gar and Soroskar Vets, and Ancient Stegodon, we'll get some good close-ups of them when they get a little bit closer, but they're going to use this land bridge in the back to attack. Now, this is a cool free-for-all map because there are these, land bridges to either side. There's this water area down in the center, which is kind of on this low ground, which is very vulnerable. But types of factions that have the ability to Vanguard deploy lots of very strong units, like the Beastmen. They can Vanguard deploy these Centaurs with great weapons, perhaps looking to shut down some sort of artillery play, but all they're going to find instead is an outward-facing force of Giant Slayers who are just ready to rip them to pieces. That's not even a fair fight. So without any further ado, guys, also check out 4 groups of Minotaurs are going to be looking to crash to this front line. But Longbeards, perfectly placed to intercept that charge and to be braced. Trollhammer torpedoes are just going to shoot now into the front lines, smash these gore herds. A couple of the blasting charges go off from the Norglings, but they're kind of shooting at this weird bad angle. Had they been targeting this gore herd, they probably would have decimated it before it got into melee. The fact that they made it in with 120 models is crazy. They probably should have lost about 20 before they even made it in. Now, Dwarven geometry at its finest. And here we go. So a summoned Cygor unit from Malagor, who is going to be casting a ton this battle. But you can see now, I love the aura of effect around summon units. It makes it so much easier to tell how much longer they will be on the field. But he is just going to be focusing down those Iron Drakes, which is probably not the best target. I understand wanting to get rid of them, but the Peak Gate Guard, one of the most expensive infantry units in the game, has their back to you and they're blobbed up. Just throw your boulders in here, man, and get massive, massive kills. But he will make some square contact. He's going to kill models, but 2 at a time instead of like getting 20 Peak Gate Guard kills. Trollhammer torpedoes doing work. You gotta love this little slight hill position and how short the dwarves are, because it's allowing them to shoot point blank into the faces of these Minotaurs and take them down. Because the Longbeards just don't really have the armor piercing to deal with Minotaurs, and these are the anti-infantry version. You see they're dual wielding their axes. Giant Slayers fighting gore herds, it's not what they want to be fighting. They can beat them, but it's just a big mismatch in terms of cost. Dragonback Slayers, a little bit of miss micro here. They're going to get back into the correct targets very soon. The Lizardmen are crossing the Rubicon here, taking damage from the Field Trebuchets as they go. Meanwhile, the bigger dinos are going to be looking to take on the Cygor, shut it down, Probably not the best target. They should just be getting in here and bum rushing the dwarves. Grimlock and Kroq'gar on his back, shutting down some of these gore herds, and all they're really doing at the moment is helping the dwarves. The Dragonback Slayers stopping another attack so that these Iron Drake can just remain isolated and can keep getting their shots off. Norgamling's almost in a perfect formation. They haven't been given an attack order, which is why, you know, they're not moving in to cut up those units. But very soon here, the Iron Drakes are going to be free to attack whoever they want. And Kroq'gar, Scar Veteran, all at full health, but wait. But wait, guys. This stuff gets pretty wild. We didn't really talk too much about the Rune Lord. He's on his anvil. He's got all of his runes. He's popping Rune of Negation, Rune of Oath and Steel. He's also got the passives. He gets huge magic resistance to the dwarves who are all around him, who already have great magic resistance. And one of the best kind of unspoken synergies on the Dwarven roster is a Rune Lord with Slayers. So Slayers' one weakness is that they have no armor, but you give those guys plus 60 armor from the Rune of Oath and Steel, plus an extra 44% physical resistance, and all of a sudden one of the most deadly units in the game is now also one of the most tanky units in the game. Thorbull in here trying to snipe out the Rune Lord, but he's not going to get him. He's just too tanky, 120 armor, constantly popping those buffs. And it's at this point that the Iron Drakes have managed to extricate themselves, and they're going to be shooting at Kroq'gar, and you'll watch his HP just plummet. Dragonback Slayers tying him down, not letting him go anywhere, and his HP is dropping rapidly, and he is going to get gadded down. Scarvet chasing down Malagor. Pretty big mismatch for him. He doesn't want to fight them at all. Bray Scream going off on the Saurus. Saurus Spears here are super blobbed up. They're going to take a ton of damage. And the Bretonnian player just... I don't know if they understand how free-for-alls work. You got to get in there before everyone is dead, or else you just won't get the points. And another Summon Cygor who's just now fading away, but the entire time he was around, he was taking shots into these blobbed-up Saurus Spears, which I thought was a great choice. And this other Scar Veteran, doing the same thing that Kroq'gar was doing, trying to tie down different units, but not able to. The Dragonback Slayers, once again, providing the slow, while the Iron Drakes are able to split up, back up, and then start shooting their torpedoes into this very big target. And this is why I said these dudes were MVPs. Right now, though, they're shooting at these Minotaurs, which, when I first watched this replay, I was really hoping they would do. Because the Norgamlings beat everything around them, that 113 kills. But these Minotaurs are in the side of their formation, which is where the Norgamlings are the least effective, because they can't get as many models into the fight as they would want. But look at those torpedoes. Just crushing them. And they're also poisoned because the Stegodon is randomly shooting in to their backs. So a lot of the Beastmen are routing off. The Lizardmen are in here now, and the Iron Drakes are now being turned to focus down the Scarvet, who is fighting Giant Slayers and the Dragonback. I'm going to try to hover over him so we can watch his HP drop. He lost 1,000 HP in a second. These units are brutal if you can keep them protected. So finally the Bretonnian players got their artillery in a spot where they can really shoot at some units, the Blessed Field Trebuchets. But there's a couple key things that let me know that the Bretonnian player was new. And it's not even just the least of that he didn't engage until the very end. If you look at the Faenchantress, she's got every spell and ability that comes on her. Pretty big rookie mistake. I've talked about it a lot on my channel. You want to cut down. She could have 2 or 3 more units just with the cost of her spells and abilities. And the Green Knight here, who has an ability that gives him regeneration as long as he's fighting in a forest. And he's got that ability on him. So let's look at it right here. It's called Sacred Guardian. And it costs a couple hundred gold. That's, I mean, in Bretonnia, you can get another group of Spearmen at Arms for a couple hundred gold. You know, 2 groups of peasants, whatever the case may be. But there's about 500, 600 gold on the table here that didn't really need to get spent. He's got Gotrek too, that's pretty sweet. I don't think I noticed that last time, but I didn't notice it because Gotrek's not even in the fight. And the Dwellers from Below here is going to do amazing damage versus the Saurus. Not so good versus the Longbeards. It will hurt them, but with the Rune Lord plus the natural magic resistance of the Dwarves, we can actually pause for a second because the battle's getting pretty wild. So, Master Rune of Grungi, extra missile resistance. Rune of Earth and Home, immune to psychology, they're already immune. Forge Fire for extra 10%, but it's this 15% magic resistance from Locus of Power, as well as their natural, I think it's 25% magic resistance. So it puts him up to 40. 40% magic resistance makes spells like Dwellers from Below much less effective. And the Saurus Scarvet here has been surrounded. Nordling's Ironbreakers just holding their flank. Pete Gagard up to 227 kills after slaughtering Saurus and slaughtering... I think they were fighting Skinks for a good while there. But slaughtering the Saurus Scars veterans. And now they're going to be taking a charge from the Grail Guardians. And I think they have Knights of the Realm that are in the back. Now, Knights of the Realm are meant to fight large targets. But in a pinch, you know, they can just get in there and attack dwarves. They have decent armor piercing. Minotaurs coming back in, but instantly being shut down. Great micro here. I will say that's probably been the best part of this battle so far, is just the targeting from the Iron Drakes has been super on point. Making sure his Slayers are where they need to be, and making sure his Iron Drakes are pointing at the targets that they need to be pointing at in order to make sure that he's getting the most value from them. So not a lot of kills, but when you consider that his two groups of Iron Drakes are basically responsible for the deaths of Kroq'gar, a Saurus Scarvet, and even more things to come, it's pretty impressive. A Gore Bull, lots of Minotaurs, and the Grail Guardians are going to charge this one unit with 2 guys left. Oh, poor Dawi. And they're going to run him over, but it's like, what are you doing, man? The battle's over. There's nothing left. Evil Sun's Big Mech is up to almost 17,000 points, while the Bretonnian player not quite at 2,000 yet. Malagor is, he's cackling to himself as he runs around. The last Beastman on the battlefield, and the Nordlings throw all of their satchel charges at him. It did a surprising amount of damage. He's not very well armored, so that does hurt him when it hits him. With the Ancient Stegodon routing a lot of the Beastman forces off the battlefield. Still one Saurus Scarvet and an Ancient Stegodon. They're going to disrupt the Bretonnian formation for sure. Meanwhile, the Blessed Field Trebuchets, which do magic damage, once again mitigated by the dwarves, is just going to be raining fire down from above. Or water, I should say. Grail Guardians, not the best. Magic damage. And their physical resistance is being bypassed by the magic damage and sunder armor of the Pete Gateguard. So their armor is being sundered. It drops down by, I think it's 30. And that's going to allow units like the Dragonback Slayers and the Giant Slayers, who still have about 20 models between them, to get some real damage done. They haven't killed any models yet on the Knights of the Realm. Grail Guardians are going down. There's more friendly fire, honestly, than anything. And the Ancient Stegodon charged in here. Look at the brutality on this Ancient Stegodon. I love watching... Oh no, the torpedoes. No, let him kill some more. I love watching the machine gun effect of the poison darts. Getting like 5 kills every time it shoots. Pretty awesome. I wish that it shot even when it was broken. That would be pretty cool. But the Iron Drakes, they're going to see the Stegodon off into the next life to go meet the old ones. Rune Lord being supported by Slayers. Pete Gagard still in the fight. Nordling's Ironbreakers still with a little bit of ammo left. They're not out of the fight by any means. But there is probably just too much here to beat. But it doesn't matter, guys. Free-for-alls are a point-based system. Iron Drakes have done their duty. They're going to go to meet Grimnir in the Great Hereafter. 3 Dragonback Slayers, like champs, going to be taking out some of these Pansy Knights. But that's probably going to be it. Once the Pete Gagard start to break, the Rune Lord finds himself somewhat isolated. For the lady, they scream. They charge into the backs of these Nordlings, who have charge defense against all, but when there's multiple cavalry units, you can't really face in every direction at once. Malagor is still on the field. Dollar's blade has been popped for the Green Knight, giving him massive damage bonuses, and he just runs over him with his huge stats. Not to mention Gotrek was in here trying to fight, but a full surround on the Rune Lord, and that's going to be it. But what a great battle, guys. Pete Gagard, 242 kills. Great use of the Slayers. Awesome use of the Iron Drakes. I was worried for my boy Evil Sons because I thought, man, if he just had one artillery piece, he could force the enemies to come to him, which is kind of a strategy that I like to employ. But when everyone already hates you and wants to fight you anyway, and they just come to your symmetrical Dawi, formation, and you don't even have to move, that's the dwarf's dream. And that's exactly what everyone did, Had the Beastman player analyzed his situation and saw that that would be an incredibly difficult formation for him to crack, even with these Minotaurs, he would have had a much better chance of going over to the Bretonnian player and trying to get into that back line, and maybe leaving the Saurus player to overcommit to taking on the dwarves, which he could not do. The dwarf player basically destroyed 2 armies by himself. Almost single-handedly destroyed these armies. So great play. So guys, once again, if you would love to send me a replay, I would appreciate it. I am in the process of trying to gather as many replays as I can from different people. And I need a few more. I need a few more to start casting again. And, you know, it's fun to do my own videos, but I really love to cast you guys' videos. And if you want to send me a replay, all you have to do is join the Discord and put it in the chat there. And I'll see it and I'll download it and I will cast it. So, thanks again to Evil Sun's Big Mech. Thanks to all the opponents that played in this game. And, yeah. So, once again, guys, my name is Brett. My channel is Good Talk Gaming. And as always, y'all, I will see you in the next one. Take care.